Alrighty, dabblers. Kale Moody here, community manager at DABL CLUB. I've got Colin on stage with me. Welcome to our very first virtual workshop of 2025. There's a lot to learn already on the books. I'm very excited to have Colin and Mel share what they've been working on because there's a massive amount of energy that's occurring on the frontier. As many of you are probably aware, we're here today to learn a little bit more about AI agents, what that is, what that means, how we can get more involved with it. I think one of the best places that we could start off is by letting Colin kind of give us his introduction on his scope of things. This is a live session that'll be recorded today. There is the live chat. I see everybody there in the comments from all over the world. I see Boulder, I see Austin, Lithuania, I see Romania. Wow. Fantastic. I appreciate everyone who's up late at night. Thanks for hanging out with us this fine Monday. This is a relatively casual session. It will be recorded, and I will make sure that this gets out same day, so that way those that are not able to attend here live with us today, you still have opportunity to absorb the content in your own pace. So without further ado, Colin, how are we doing today, my friend?
Thank you, Kale. Awesome. Already 128 comments and before the event even starts. I'm excited to introduce everybody to what we've been working on over the holidays. I don't know if anyone has ever heard the term cold start, but cold start is a concept that during the holidays, everyone goes on vacations. You see people flying all over the world. And a cold start is when you start your company during the holidays. So we took the holidays and we were heads down. I didn't even go out on New Year's Eve. We worked our butts off over the holidays and still spent time with family, but we've been turning our heads around in circles, trying to make it easy for developers to build AI agents and to build those AI agents on chain. So this is what happened, during 2022 and 2023. I worked on AI agents and built privacy wrappers for ChatGPT before working at MetaMask and running DevRel for Consensus. So I went from MetaMask, which was a big corporation, and we were trying to build AI agents there to help people with their MetaMask. And we realized that really what developers want to do is they want to build their own. And so we started the DABL CLUB 1 year ago. The DABL CLUB was created, and when they approached me to leave MetaMask and join the DABL CLUB, I said, I'm on board as long as we make it focused on AI. So we spent the last year figuring out how to do that. We launched an awesome omi.me product. You can check it out. It just launched a couple days ago at CES. It's a AI wearable device that you can wear on your necklace. I have my Apple Vision Pro on today, so I don't have my necklace on. But if you want, you can actually go and buy the new Omi device today. It's pretty amazing. It is a AI necklace that takes notes on everything you do. And the real intent here is for us to build AI agents that can actually have a meaningful impact in our world. And so what we did last year to promote AI was we added AI to our own website. So if you haven't been to the DABL CLUB website, I'm going to share my screen just for a second here, and I'm not going to spend too much time pitching you on what our company is, but we like promoting what's the coolest thing in AI. So Omi is what we gave out 350 of these last year. And we added an AI agent, AI chatbot to our website. So you can go and you can always ask the DABL bot on our website about the DABL CLUB. And I won't go too deep, but the DABL CLUB, essentially, we are here to help builders build and focus on the aggregation layer and build across all blockchains, including Polygon, which is our main sponsor. So that's where this is coming from. And we built this bot last year with help from Cookbook, and we promoted the concept of using AI to help developers. And we realized that we needed to take it to the next level. And so if you want to join us for this agent camp, you probably signed up because you want to learn how to build an AI agent. And so that's what we're going to do. And we hired one of the best DevRels in the world, Mel, aka Troop Degen. He's based in Mexico City, and he spent his holidays working on this camp. So we are going to teach you all about agents and AI, and we're going to show you how to build them on chain. If you are excited about that, post in the comments, share, invite your friends. This is a long running thing, and we're going to do more of that. If you have feedback, feel free to reach out to me directly on Twitter. I'm at Colo, or you can give your feedback direct to Mel. He's a crack dev, and we are working on something really big behind the scenes. We are working on the Eliza agent framework to build our own agent builder. So we're going to make it really easy for you by the end of this agent camp to go and build your own agent. So I want you to have that in mind as you take this, is you can be a builder and you can get your agent built. If you've already dove into this space and you have ideas that you want to share with us and you want to incorporate into agent camp, reach out to me and Mel. Kale, I'm going to hand it back to you. So I hope I warmed up the crowd for Mel. I just want to say, he's awesome. He's also a regen. So he's part of the regen community, really focused on regenerative coding as well as open source community. So he's done a lot in his career, and I'm really excited to have him bring this to everybody. So let's go, Mel.
Always on a roll, Colin. Appreciate it. All right.
One more. I want to introduce Purple, the dog. So just to really get the crowd excited, this is Purple, and she's Purple the dog on Farcaster. I'll drop her Warpcast link in there.
And that's actually a great call to action in your comments too. Drop any of your Farcaster profiles, and we'll be sure to follow you guys on there as well. Mel, welcome to the stage.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much for the intro. Thanks, everyone. Sorry the delay. You know how it is crazy playing around with agents, preparing the session. I'm super excited as DABL CLUB to play around with all of this. I'm very excited to be part of this team and everything that we are exploring. And it really happened that at that point during our explorations after ETH Bangkok, or rather DEF CON in ETH Global's Bangkok, and the big splash, us as part of the DevRel team working with Polygon and checking the projects that builders were working on. And that was it. The theme, of course, memes and all this, but agents and AI. And we were there very present with the OMIs and getting more people in San Francisco to build on it with AI. And wow, my mind got blown away. I had been using AI tools for a bit here and there with ChatGPT and getting code done and getting better at certain, rather debugging, but still felt like very, sluggish, very like, okay, yeah, it's cool. We have like an intern there, but it's still not great. And I started playing around more with somebody that actually shared with me this idea of pets, and you could feed them, and then you can start like training them for AI agents. And I was like, yeah, that's very cool. So he showed me personalities. He showed me how you build a character, and I started playing around that very night after Bangkok. Started playing with ChatGPT and started giving it a personality. Started like sharing, okay, I want you to answer like this, and it started to just expand. And from there, hackathon started. Like, hey, there's gonna be agents. There's this new framework that actually has been around for a while, and the one that we will be focusing most during these 3 weeks, which is Eliza. I'm sure a lot of you have been around and have been hearing about this very cool framework that's been making noise with AI 16C, this AI-led DAO that is looking to invest. Start exploring these crazy, very futuristic, ghost in the shell like visions, and it really resonates with a lot of pop culture that brings us hackers here, and it just makes sense, right? Start playing with it, start learning, start seeing that once again, it's not as hard as it is, as it feels or as it seems. Sometimes we think it's a black box and there's black magic in there, but that's exactly what the amazing people at these cool companies as Eliza are doing, and more like us and other initiatives that are bringing these tools to more people and making it easier to use. So that's what we're going to be doing here. We'll be focusing these 3 weeks on understanding how to use LLMs and AI tools to our best, and to help us be more free, have more time to enjoy, have more time to be creative, have more time to explore these kind of new solutions or new pathways to to solve coordination problems and become. I do think without maybe projecting too much humanity into this, but remember these are tools, but still have fun with them because it is really fun. And we have been exploring with this, Kale and Colin and me, just playing with the double agents that we have created, the assistants that we have created in the background, and how they are helping us get stuff done. You'll see it right away in this starting. So I'm going to start first showing a little bit of what we're going to get on this bootcamp, and you will forgive me if it's a little bit choppy on the flow, because trying to incorporate as much AI here as we can, and it might feel forced, I know, but we're testing stuff here. So this is a little bit of what we've been working on, and I don't know if you have used Replit. It's very fun. It's a cool way to get started with these kind of tools. And I'm just generated with a specific version of Claude on my desktop. Well, not a specific version, but like an assistant that we have for DABL. Let me export this. So we're bouncing with, and I just want to show the behind the scenes, because it's very cool that we can actually come around and play with this. Give me 1 second. Use this as a reference. Create a planet. So let's see. I'm sure how many of you have probably used the ChatGPT already? I mean, probably 99% of you, if not all of you, have done it. And this is a little bit of what we are working on with here in DABL Club. So for example, I should have a new one here that I just sent to it. 1 second. It's generating. So, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to have 3 weeks. 3 weeks, we're preparing you for the wave of hackathons that are going to be happening. We're going to have 2 weeks of learning, 2 days a week, Mondays and Thursdays, noon UTC -6. You can check the Luma for specific hours. I want to just bog you down with these details. But the idea is for you to have these 2 times 6 sessions where you're going to go from little to no knowledge on AI tools and agents. And you will actually, it's not showing. And you will actually learn how to at least build something that is useful for you. It's going to help you create the proper, environments that can get you productive. Even if it doesn't matter where you come or what's your background. If you have no technical knowledge, you're going to be able to at least build something like this, where you're going to have maybe a specialized prompt master tool that's going to help you create the perfect prompts for your your day-to-day work. Maybe you want somebody that's going to help you create a very specialized assistant's going to, hey, I need this formatted for LLM consumption, and you just want to start creating a lot of cool data that is going to be helpful for all of your internal office. If you work in a hospital and you need processes that are specific for that internal section, you can train this on, and it just depends on what you want to do. I want you to come here with the fresh idea that everything that you want to build is potentially possible to be built. Start easy, start simple. And we're going to take these 3 weeks to learn the basics of, okay, so how do we go from understanding what are the building blocks, LLMs, tools, and what different pieces of the puzzle you can start playing with in order to start building more complex agents, such as this one that actually generated the whole presentation on a URL, on an actual website that I'm going to share and deploy, and you can use this just from prompts. So that is the vision that we have in DABL Club, and for this bootcamp. And now is where I want to show you, okay, I can come here, take these instructions, and let's say add this doc. So handbook. It's a handbook. Yeah.
We got a question coming in. I just want to be your assistant here. So will we learn how to interact with wallets on chain from Juan Isaac? Yes, absolutely. So the real intent of this is if you are a new builder in AI or a new builder in Web3, we will help you get to that point where you can go be your own. You can call yourself a cracked AI dev, and you can go deploy agents that have access to a wallet. So I think when we say on-chain agents, essentially that means an AI agent that's probably not running on-chain, but it's running in a cloud instance in some run pod or Hugging Face or Amazon or Fleek Network, which just launched, as well as Akash. So you might host that AI agent somewhere, but it then interacts on chain by using a wallet address. So this is, agents can also interact with Twitter or Telegram or Discord or Instagram, but this, the idea as an on-chain agent is that an agent has its own money, its own wallet that it can program and use and spend.
Well, and actually that might be a great point here, Colin, if you want to expand on this, because this is the big discussion right now, right? What's the difference between an agent? What makes an agent real? What is the definition terminology that you apply to an agent versus, say, the common LLM chatbots that we're seeing a lot of?
Yeah, feel free to ask questions in the channel. What is the difference between a bot and an agent? An agent is a long-running AI agent that actually, so you can use the word agentic. So if something's agentic, it's long-running, and it has more than just the functionality of being able to respond to messages. It's actually proactively, it has a task. So generally an agent will have some sort of goal that it needs to accomplish. So just like that, we have a goal for our agent camp for us all to go and build and launch agents. And we'll also be adding incentives. I don't know, Mel, if you're on that point, but we'll have incentives for you guys.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And for this, for example, that's what I wanted to go and help us, or rather have the agents help us take us to these explanations. So build this, and the program overview is precisely 3 weeks where we have 2 tracks. The agent camp, which is the focus a little bit more on the technical side, and the one that's gonna dive deeper into building these solutions. If it has an API or a layer that you can use to communicate between servers, then you can build it. So on-chain interactions, we will dive deeply into Eliza plugin building, not only on the technical tool assessment, like how to build the tools or the API calls, the functions that they use, that the agent's gonna use, but also on the psychological or rather LLM processing, how to process the requests, the prompts, a little bit of prompt engineering, how does Eliza use or how to access the brain very deeply and manipulate it in a way to do the proper evaluations, calibrate, how to judge scoring systems, and just be creative. Like this is where we're going to take the agent camp. That's the main track, and where we're going to have probably the incentives. We want to see agents built on 2 tracks. One of them is going to be full Polygon, build the on-chain agent. We want people to build agents that are doing stuff on chain. And I would also like to have a DABL CLUB that's just like more open. I want to see you think and go like expand on. I just want something crazy. It doesn't have to be on chain necessarily, but just a very good use case. That would be for the agent camp. And the build-a-thon is a little bit more of the open track. If you're more on a casual side, want to explore how can I use the tools to get better at my work and process better the data, automate some flows. And it's a little bit less challenging, but it's a very useful tool that a lot of people could use and see value out of it. We want to understand it. And also have that track for that. So here's our schedules. The schedules are wrong here. Start for the Spanish version. Just change this to 12 p.m. We'll update this to the correct. These are in Spanish. Please adjust just the handbook to English. Let's see how much it takes. So the sessions are going to be a lot of technical theory at the beginning, then building, and then a little bit more of show and tell, just what we have been exploring on specific on each specific session. We're going to have a Discord with the Polygon or the DABL Club one. We want to expose these agents with you. We want the agents to be there, share your agents, invite them. We're trying to have rooms, explore, see how to get them together. AI tools, we're going to show you how to use Claude, ChatGPT, and different models, GaiaNet, public LLMs, developer environment, of course, how to get set up. We will provide the resources to get your environment ready, because Eliza requires certain versions and certain, the documentation is there, but still, we're going to help you there. And just documentation on how to get started with all of this. the usual community guidelines. So we have the 6 sessions are divided as follows. The first one is this one, introductory. We're going to check LLMs. We're going to check tools to build or to use LLMs with and start generating workflows and how to go from agents, or rather from LLMs to agents. Session 2 is going to dive deeper into frameworks, and we're going to start exploring the different frameworks that are out there, as well as the different launchpads that are being launched, or tools or apps that you can start using and exploring, and especially getting inspiration from. I think this is crucial. Just seeing what others are building out there and what's working, what's not, what's cool, what we as users find cool, because this is a very green space at the moment. It's still very hard to just identify the value out of a chatbot, which is something that we'll discuss in a bit. What's an agent and what's a chatbot, and what's actually valuable. So this is what we want to move. So session 2, which is next Thursday, is about frameworks. We'll check Eliza. We'll see what has been built with Eliza, some agents that are out there, and what do they do, and just very important to stress this out. This is nothing financial. This is nothing about speculation. This is a pure learning experience. The different apps and potentially agents that could be linked to any kind of speculative asset, that's just a byproduct of our explorations. We're not delving into any DGen play right now. It's very focused on learning, exploring. We might try on-chain stuff, but please do not buy anything. Do not take this as just not financial advice. Be careful. It's very risky right now. There's a lot of stuff. Agents are tricky. I just want to make this very clear. We're probably going to start each session with this. Do your own research and don't fall for anything. Nobody's promoting nothing. DABL doesn't have a token. Agent Camp doesn't have a token. We're just here to learn. If we're okay with that, because I wanted to say there, that's session 1 and 2. Next week, and this is the first week, it's ideas. We want to share your ideas. It's going to be 3 deliverables, 3 weeks. First week, idea. I want you to think about either an agent or the AI tool that you're going to use or create. You want to make it sure that you have very clear what you want to build and you can share it with others. We provide the spaces where you can share it so people can vote and start thinking which are the ideas that are more worthy to build. Because this is a very green space and we want to see you build startups. After this, next week, second deliverable is going to be tokenomics or business model for your project. At the same time, we will be diving into Eliza, how to get your agent. First session next week is going to be how to get it, your identity for your agent, the character, the style, the way to communicate, ideals, how to build it psychologically in a way, and some tools to help you build it faster, and how to deploy your agent. The second session next week is going to be all about plugins. We're going to explore the first plugins. We want to explore the building blocks of the plugins, the evaluators, the actions, and the providers. We also see some clients and start giving more functionality to the agent that we're creating. And, as I mentioned, the second deliverable for next week is going to be the business model or tokenomics, or how we like to call them, agentnomics. And third week is all about building. On Monday, we're going to have specialized plugin development. By this, we will already be playing with on-chain elements. So we will be building a more specific plugin on how to do on-chain stuff. Ideally, we will build something that got suggested this week. So if you have you think you have a great idea, polish it, share it around. We want to see you sharing it on the DABL CLUB Farcaster and Polygon Farcaster channels. Just share it with them, get traction. The ones with the most likes are going to have more attention. I don't know what that means, but at least it's going to mean that people are going to like it and maybe are going to build it. So, and of course, that's session 1, the specialized session 5, for the first one of week 3. And the last one, and of course, we'll provide all of this more clear because I know I'm just it sounds like rambling. But the last one is demo day. We're going to select the 5 best up until you are. We want to see execution without it having to be perfect. It doesn't matter if it doesn't do anything as you want. If it just starts giving tokens like crazy, that's okay. We want just to see you experimenting and see you throwing out an agent out there doing stuff live. and we judge from there. The best part is you will be ready with the knowledge to build agents and plugins to start facing the wave of hackathons and opportunities that are going to come. Part of them, which will be led also from our end. We will be having incentives here. We haven't finalized the details, so please be patient there. And we want to bring also external partners that want to share what they're building. If you're building something cool, come with us, shoot us a message, share a link. The DABL Club Telegram is open. Please start sharing your explorations, what you're building, and let's get this community first. We want to see you build crazy stuff, and we want to see us build tools that will help all of us builders create the world that we want to see. So yeah, that's like the overall structure of the program. And without further ado, I think we can start with the diving into the first session, Colin. So LLMs into agents and how we got here. So I think we can start over here, Colin.
I heard my name. So what you want me to intro, or you?
Yeah,
you called
because we've been exploring for a while, and I was at San Francisco last year, last Global with you, and I got really that's the place to be for a while, has been, if you want to do AI. And I wanted you to take us a little bit on a very quick trip. How are we getting here into this LLM into AI agents? How do you feel we are taking this approach, and why are they starting to be very attractive?
So I think there's two big use cases that have kind of taken off in the last couple years around AI in general. The first, I would say, jump in excitement was ChatGPT, obviously. Ironically, ChatGPT was just a prototype project created by an OpenAI engineer, DevRel. So it was created by people like me and you as a demonstration of what OpenAI's API could do. So OpenAI is really focused on onboarding developers to use their now O1 thinking reasoning model, which is probably one of the top of the line and best AI LLMs out there. And large language models changed the game. ChatGPT basically made it easy for any user without technical knowledge to go and use LLMs, right? Before ChatGPT, there was no easy to use web interface to use LLMs. You had to be a developer, or you had to trust some tiny startup that you didn't believe in. So there was a handful of companies building on the API, but it wasn't until they launched a front-end user interface. And that ChatGPT interface popularized the concept of NLP-based interfaces. And by that, I mean natural language processing, or chatbot interfaces. And for many, many years, there were already chatbots in Telegram, Discord. I think people claim that Twitter was mostly bots. So bots have already existed, but it wasn't until ChatGPT made it an accessible, general use thing that every marketing person and developer could use. So immediately, we saw new use cases popping up. And one of those big use cases, I'd say the most popular, at least in the Bay Area, every hackathon for AI ended up with people building just ChatGPT wrappers that look just like ChatGPT, people building NLP interfaces, not really knowing what to build. They're just building another wrapper for the OpenAI API. I myself am guilty. I built an OpenAI wrapper. I also added Anthropic in there so you could have a choice, but I added privacy on top because OpenAI takes all your data and adds it and feeds it back to the AI to then relearn and improve their product. And the product managers there can also see everything that you type into OpenAI. So big companies immediately banned ChatGPT and hired all their IT team to go figure out how to use AI internally. And so every company built their own sort of enterprise AI interface. So this was the 2022 rush, I would say, of ChatGPT wrappers. I launched a company to add privacy on top of OpenAI's API. basically remove all your personal information from the prompts before you send them to OpenAI servers. And this would solve enterprise problems of not sharing data. However, what we found was like every enterprise didn't really know how to use AI. Like they wanted to implement it, but they were still in this banned mode. And so that was the first version. And then what we realized was the people who wanted to use the LLMs, wanted to use ChatGPT the most, were developers. People were copy pasting their entire source code into ChatGPT. And this actually was a famous case with Samsung. Some engineer pasted their private source code into OpenAI. And technically, once you share your source code with any other company, it's no longer private information, and it's now essentially public domain for anyone to use. So if you paste your code into OpenAI's API through ChatGPT, you no longer own that information. So you have this problem of like, oh, hey, we need to create new models. So in 2023, Meta changed the world and released open source access to llama models. As well, we started to see that people were building their own custom models and making better models that were better at different things. One of the most important ones was coding. Software engineers were all using ChatGPT and basically building their own software and having their ChatGPT write test cases, have it review code, have it write code. And Anthropic came out with a better model than OpenAI for writing code. So Claude Sonnet 3.5, probably the best out there at writing code. You could argue that none of this was agentic. And so what we saw was a few number of small projects like Baby AGI and AutoGPT are open source projects to build agentic protocols. And agents at that time essentially would say, I'm going to have a overall task, and I'm going to come up with 10 or 20 steps that would accomplish that task. And in programming, that's typically like a software development plan. So you create the software development build plan, and you say, here's all the components I need to build. Here's how I'm going to build it. And then the user would say, yes, go ahead. And your AutoGPT would take those tasks and continue working. Whereas ChatGPT or any of the LLMs before this would just simply answer one question, prompt after prompt, just like a conversation. But giving agents or giving the LLM the prompt of continuously working on itself and essentially responding to itself. So we've now seen a move from having just these agentic protocols that are essentially long-running agents to now having multiple agents or swarms. So OpenAI launched swarms, and by having a swarm, you can have a testing engineer and a coding engineer and a code review engineer, and you can essentially have the agents work with each other and prompt each other and continuously keep working on a project like building software. So the agents have kind of found this one use case of building software. And I would say Replit is now the hot option in this space. Replit has made an agent that's plugged into their IDE. GitHub is and their Copilot could be argued to be an agent as well. So GitHub Copilot, Cursor, Replit, and Claude are all, I would say, the top 4 to go and build software. Now, if software building isn't your main thing, that's okay. We now have this same problem. Now AI agents are for developers only. And so what we saw in the last, I would say, 6 months is agents are now becoming easy to build. No code agents are coming. We have projects. I don't know if I want to name all of them because there's a small number of them, but I'll give you guys the alpha. But and I'll put them all next to each other in one line. But I would say we've seen virtuals.io, loomlay.com, creator.bid, and these are just some of the projects that I've seen that have made it easy for a non-developer to go and deploy their own AI agent. So you can go try those websites. We see a lot of people in the Solana and Base communities also building agent protocols. So we see this as our responsibility to help the Polygon community and the entire Web3 community build AI agents that aren't tied to a single chain and that are really focused on the Ethereum and AG layer community. So we want to train people to build on blockchain and build these AI agents, not just as an easy UI. We want to make it open source for developers. So we focus on developers, but at the same time, the thing that's going to take off is agent. We're not at the top of the hype for agents. We're at the very early stage. Agents are still very developer focused. There are a few websites in I would call the Web 2 world, like character.ai, that allows you to go build your own AI agent and chat with a chat with a chatbot. But these chatbots, you could see a lot of people arguing that these agents that we see today are not really agentic. They're just enhanced chatbots that are responding and hitting an LLM API. And that might be true. So yeah, Solana devs are welcome. We love Solana devs. We want to help everyone in Web3. That we're not specific to any chain. So there are now hackathons going on Solana. Where there's a on-chain AI hackathon for Base. There's the Agentic AI Ethereum hackathon going on, Agentic Ethereum. I'm going to drop a link for that one. So I'd like to encourage everyone. So we are leading this charge to educate people because there's a ton of these hackathons happening right now. I think Andrew Tate just launched a hackathon on Solana. So we see a lot of the hackathon for Solana just ended, but we see more coming up. So we are launching this as a hackathon for Polygon. So we want people to build AI agents on Polygon, and we're going to help you do that. And if you go to our website, we'll have more information. We're going to have a detailed list of frameworks that we recommend for you to use. But there is a hackathon coming up. It is the Agentic Ethereum Hackathon by ETH Global. It starts on January 31st. So we have 2 weeks to prepare for that hackathon. And I want us to go from this event, from this camp, I want us all to go on and apply to ETH Global right now. Just go fill out your application. And if you go and submit to that, we will give you prizes. So we want people to submit to the Agentic Ethereum Hackathon. And that all leads up to ETH Denver. So if you're not in the Web3 space, you may not have heard of ETH Denver, but ETH Denver is coming up at the end of February. So we will want everyone to go to ETH Denver, and we're going to win ETH Denver as DABL Club or as a community. We want to win ETH Denver with our agents. Polygon is a sponsor of many ETH Globals, but they're not sponsoring the Agentic Ethereum. I'm promoting Agentic Ethereum. We love ETH Global. ETH Global is one of the best hackathons in the entire space. So I encourage you guys to go join that hackathon right after this camp, and we'll get you prepared for it. So yeah, I think right now, the popular models like ChatGPT, OpenAI, Gemini, and Claude are the most popular models. So, you don't need all three, but pick one, try it out. That should be your go-to during this camp. And we'll demonstrate how to use at least some of these, right, Mel?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I want to bridge into this. So this is why we're here. It's all been boiling and taking us here, and we experienced it, we lived it, and we've been using it so much and having so much fun with this, and that's why we're taking all of these steps, because there's opportunities to create, to explore, to find a new career. Even like if you are unsure, if you're not very technical, this is a good space to test, see what's happening. We need all kinds of profiles, and seriously, I know it feels very challenging and very scary even, but here's where we're going to start the session. Let's understand the building blocks and how does this work on a conceptual level, so you can start thinking more on the how to solve problems, and rather if this is trustworthy, or how does it work just to start with. So I'm sure this is the main acronym that we have seen around bouncing together with AI for a while, and that's LLMs. Large language models. And in a sense, they're just an input-output machine, a state machine that takes an initial input and does a process inside of it and has a text output, and it's all language based, so that's why text. But what it really means, this has been possible before, and that actually the Eliza name comes from the 60s, where the first chatbot kind of got tested, and it was some kind of conversations. I'm not very good on this like history lesson, but that's like the first intentions of creating these chatbot machines. However, if you've tried to use chatbots before in Siri or other less, I don't know if Siri is a great example of a good chatbot, but Bixby or others that have tried before, and they're not very good, and they had a hard time following context and this semantic meaning that we attach as humans to words. So, whenever I say that something's on a scale to 1 to 10, how good is it for me? And I say, oh, it's great. Well, that might have a different value attached to great for me, that great from Colin or from a friend, and even the word great or the scale. I mean, it's very hard to keep track of this as humans, but we have this capacity of attaching semantic meaning and context provided knowledge or meaning. And this was something that models struggled for a while, and then that's when the first the better models start coming around and understanding better how to process this meaning that's attached between words or behind words. So this is where we started with ChatGPT, Gemini, or rather back then it was Bard, Anthropic's Claude, and we start getting this capacity of machines to understand abstract concepts that are tied to language. And how did we achieve this? It was by training these servers to process a large amount of data and get trained and modeled after that. So behind these LLMs, we do have like to start using these LLMs before, like Colin was mentioned, they required like a lot of knowledge. I don't know if you've heard of libraries such as PyTorch and TensorFlow. I remember hearing about them back in 2019, 2020. There's a friend that's more into the machine learning kind of side. But, I'm not a Python developer. So I really didn't want to get into Python, even though the AI sounds cool. But you don't only need to know these tools or rather know this language, but also all of the process that comes when developing these LLMs. So all of the pre-processing of the data, which is one of the key parts, and that's why we use so much or take advantage so much of the existing LLMs such as OpenAI's or Claude's, because they have done this heavy work, training loops and complex integrations on how to work. So before it was very hard. That's why we didn't get a lot of this until LangChain got introduced. And we want to bring this kind of cool framework, which is also used right now, I believe, to create agents. You can also use LangChain. And it provided this open source framework, both in JavaScript and Python, that allows the chaining of models. So right now, every time you have think about before the LLMs, you had to do a lot of back and forth with ChatGPT or any of this, and you still have to. If I come here with Claude, and I want to get, for example, this one of our assistants that we have created, and I want to, let's say, I need to create an evaluation framework for the agent camp. So if I want to get like an output, I have a very simple task. I need to create an evaluation framework for the agent camp, but I need to do a lot of back and forth, specify what kind of, a lot of things, even though the results are very good right now because it's been trained to achieve certain outputs, and that's what we have been doing before, but I still need to do a lot of back and forth. So what if I could start training a better model, or rather this model that takes this prompt, and after getting this like output, it passes it over to another model or another agent or another assistant, another LLM that's going to run a different process to it. So maybe I need the financial specialist to detect trends and see if we can actually sponsor. How much money do you think? Maybe an assessment. Check how many partners will be able to go for this, and you get an evaluation and a forecast of what's the budget that we could get, and then you pass that information to the plan and execution and the tools that we will need, And just from one prompt, I don't have to keep bouncing back and forth. So that's what LangChain came and changed. It allowed other people to start training these models and performing more complex tasks with LLMs. So this reduces the barrier for building AI tools, because now you can reuse these kind of workflows or nodes or executions that other people can build, and you can start making more specialized workflows and more complex tasks by chaining these workflows. So the LangChain part, and you see this, I want to point this kind of abstraction that we're doing every time. So LLMs and language, why is it so powerful right now that we are starting to explore and take it from where we were before, where we had Python and specific tools to create services, but really what we want to get is here. We want to give these tools for users to use at the application layer. That's where we use no-code tools now. We see launchpads that allow us to just be an interface, a very simple interface to create agents. But behind of all of this, we have all of these abstraction layers that different points of LangChain and different tools are building. And everything that's been growing a lot here on the agent part and the tools that we have is we're creating a lot of APIs and services, which is what the LLMs are being used for right now. You just get an API key, and then you can give it to a framework such as LangChain, Vercel, or Eliza, which is what we're going to do, and start developing agents without having to take care of all of this. That's what I wanted to go with here. So we will be taking care more on the application layer and how to get them launched, how to think and build these APIs and integrations, and not care too much about the hard part, which is developing the whole framework to actually execute the things. So that's why LangChain really started making a lot of waves with conversational chatbots, the part of the autonomous AI agents and analysis systems and other processing tools for languages. I want to stop here and make sure if everyone's following the part of the chain and how we are going from models that execute specific tasks or specific questions, they answer them and return an output, into chaining these outputs as if it was a blockchain, where the end state of one agent or one workflow rather is inputted into the next model, and you get generated a new output. And every time you get a more polished version of what you need. Is this clear? I hope so. All right. So in essence, that's what chains are, and you can hear them being called different names: workflows, tasks. It can even be called actions, as Eliza calls them. And each action everything at the end is composed of functions being passed around between models. And the actions depend on what the previous model did with the function to the request and the output that it generated. And these are just building blocks, and from these we can start thinking about more complex workflows. Like it can be, and the idea is for them to be the more specialized that you can. Because, for example, if I train an agent or a model, and I want us to focus on the model, I train a model to create very well crafted emails for lead generation, and then I want to train it to also do blog posts. It's worse, and it's better to actually have split, like one that's perfectly trained for blog posts and knows exactly how you want them, and the other one is completely different model, or rather a different set of instructions for the model that perform and execute and craft the greatest emails that you need for your lead generation. So this is like the kind of approaches that we have to think of when building AI tools and agents. And you'll see how we can, and that's why we like Eliza a lot, demodularization and plugging framework in an open source manner, but that doesn't mean it's the only one. And yeah, LangChain agents, it's our LLMs integrated with tools. So the step where you start thinking, okay, so agents are just, let's do some, sorry for the light mode. There we go. So first we have like the users on the And this is something that you can start already doing. It doesn't mean that it's an agent, but just a common workflow where we usually have task one, task two, and task three. And maybe for task one, this is an image generating one. Then this is a caption generation. And then this is a post publication. And if you want this to be like a tweet generator or a thread generator, an Instagram bot, an influencer, I don't know. If you wanted to do this yourself, you have to go and execute each of these tasks by yourself, like literally. And maybe you can ask a model to do it for you, and it's gonna bring you back the image, but you still have to like go and pass it back over to the caption generation one, and then I know it's pretty obvious, but you still need to go ahead and execute all of these tasks. You have to go manually and tell the LLMs, hey, do this, do this, do this. These are tools that you have at your disposal, and you know how to do them. But you have to go and manually prompt and polish and curate and make sure that it is to the exact specifications that you have, which is fine. And that's how actually most of the work is done today. But what if we could exchange this already handled by LLMs? The task evaluation is already like when you ask a model, maybe it's a very specialized image generation model, but still has to process your request, your prompt, and it turns it into the actual model that trains, or rather, model that generates output. And that's the same for each instance. So you're still playing with LLMs and you're chaining tasks, but you still have to go and do it yourself. But what if we could swap this element that's the user, and we swap it into another LLM? Wow, what did I do? Here we go. And to this LLM, we are also going to give it another set of tools that is evaluation, decision making, and certain level of autonomy in such a way that it can handle the process of, okay, I receive the first image and I get the image back, but sometimes you don't get the image as you wanted, right? You have to like, hey, actually adjust this. So the LLM is going to be trained to evaluate the image, process it into like a result, like an evaluation, see, okay, is this a good image or not for what we want to achieve? If it is, it's going to go ahead and generate the caption. And if it isn't, it's going to actually return and decide via evaluation and decision making and by autonomy without asking us as humans if it's going to execute one of these tasks. And that's the idea. We want to create these LLMs that are capable of not only deciding which tasks to execute, but actually taking care of all of the flow and handling the errors, the potential mistakes, and just execute stuff by themselves. Ideally, this is a first step. And the more autonomy you give to the agent, the more it can start behaving as a non-playable character that's actually doing stuff. But I don't want to take it too far. I just want to pause here and talk about this is what an agent looks like. This is where the agent starts differentiating itself from a chatbot. It's not just answering a conversation, but it's actually taking into account this part, evaluation, decision-making, and autonomy, to go and decide and polish whatever task it is programmed or instructed to do. Are we okay until this? I know this can be a little bit, new. It kind of blew my mind at the beginning, hard to keep track, but at the end, it's just processing of instructions, and it's kind of what we do as humans. Any input here, Colin or Kale? Would love to hear some thoughts before we go into the.
I think we should dive into the deep. But also, you mentioned Eliza, so maybe you could tell us about the Eliza framework and what you think of it. You could open up their GitHub, but this is one of the more popular frameworks in the Web3 AI agent space. And so are we going to learn about Eliza in this agent camp?
Oh yeah, for sure. Eliza is gonna be part of, especially the next week. So I want to reach to Eliza and how this part of this, which is very important. So the cool part about Eliza and other frameworks that are building agents.
One thing, I think we should introduce the name Eliza too. So the name Eliza is actually the first AI agent that was ever created. And they created this Eliza bot. I think they may have created a different agent before Eliza, but they destroyed it. But Eliza was the name of the first AI agent. And so it's the new Eliza framework created by AI16Z is not actually the same agent as the original one, but it is, a harken back to history. That first AI agent, Eliza, was created at MIT back in 1964, 1967 was the time they built it. And it simulated conversations between using pattern matching and a different methodology than LLMs, but it basically allowed it to respond to people and make prescriptions. So it was a doctor. So they created a psychotherapist bot back in the 60s. So that was the first AI agent bot, you could say. And so the name Eliza carries this history with it. So
100%. And that's where we start thinking, and okay, so we have these agents and that can chain tasks. However, that's just like one part of it, and you can keep an agent. It can be agentic as long as it keeps this. But the more you flesh out these kind of nodes or this task execution, you start giving it a functionality that, for some, like, honestly, feels like you're creating something human. And this is where something that I like a lot, which is the retrieval augmented generation. It's another component, another building block that LLMs have access to, or not specific to LLMs, but you can attach it to an LLM. And now what retrieval augmented generation systems is just a way to provide a storage and knowledge layer that's on top of the existing training data. So if you ask ChatGPT certain information, especially at the beginning, it very clearly stated, hey, my knowledge is up to 2021, I think was the first, I don't remember. And it really was very limited because you couldn't ask, maybe had documentation about version 3 of whatever framework you were using, and a new version was launched, and yikes. So suddenly ChatGPT and whatever you were paying for it was becoming a little bit useless because you wanted to try the new stuff and you had to build this layer of knowledge for yourself. So retrieval augmented generation is just placing a database for content, for knowledge storing into the agent. And now not only does it have this all processing of language capabilities and also the functions or the task execution that you create, which can be like API calls, whatever, web search. There's a lot of cool stuff. But this one in particular is very exciting because now you start exploring the agent on, and this is something I like as a biomedical engineer, as a brain, and I know I said we shouldn't attach a lot of humanity into these frameworks, but still, it's fun to explore the way you can use this database and this embedded model and vector storing. This is very interesting technology. I'm not an expert, but we'll share a couple of images of how does this work. But in essence, you're storing information in a way that's very easy for the LLMs to ask through vector stores to find data that's similar to what you are inputting. So in another ways, how sometimes you get asked, hey, do you remember about this? What's the name of this person that we saw? And you know perfectly who that person is, but maybe you don't remember the name. It's on the tip of your tongue or something like that. And then all of a sudden you hear the word that's similar to that. I don't know. Let's say John, and it's and you hear your mom's call another John. And it's like, hey, okay, you make the link. So even though it's a very bad example, but similar named words or sounding words or maybe similar concepts. A dog and a cat, they are mammals, so they are pets. They're very similar, but maybe you're asking about canines, you're not gonna get anything about a cat because it's not a canine. I'll share in a bit exactly how does this look. But what they do is they retrieve, they allow LLMs to retrieve data and not only create memories and get these memories, and using vector stores for information. So we have these three embedding models, which is, I'm not sure exactly what's the process that happens, but you get this transformed to the vector stores, which is what gets explained better, like vector stores image. Okay. LLM vector stores. So I think, okay, this is better. Just want the image. So in essence, what gets want the image. In essence, what LLMs do when you start playing with these RAG systems, how they are called, is you start storing in a spatial, like a vector database, and similar words, depending on the meaning, get different perspectives on how, like, for example, wolf, dog, and cat are very close to each other, and banana and apple, of course, are fruits. And maybe on this perspective, you feel like, okay, yeah, they're very far away. But if you were to turn in a 3D space, maybe on a specific plane, they would feel very close apart. And this perspective is the way that you state about the word, like the semantic meaning. So that's what changes the viewpoint. So if I want to say, what species is this organic matter? Well, then I'm going to get it very separate. But if I change, hey, what in the planet is organic, then you would shift the viewpoint in a way that banana and wolf would be actually closer than it looks, because they have more in relationship on the organic, like semantic meaning, than a rock or a diamond, because those are different structures that are not organic on a chemical standpoint. Maybe this was too complex, but just a way to introduce that this is how RAG systems work and vector stores work. Fortunately, we don't have to dive into this, and we're not gonna go into this very deep, because this is like one of the coolest yet most challenging parts of AI, I think. But still, it's something that we will be using as part of the RAG systems, just so you understand how these get trained and how these work on a fundamental level. And that's actually what Eliza uses, a RAG system to create databases. And we will explore how to manage the memory manager, how to use the memory managers to create our own tables inside Eliza's database, create relationships, find out about relationships, find out how the agents are learning, because all of these, they create logs, they store knowledge, and how they are using these RAG systems to enhance themselves, which is something very interesting that is going to take us eventually to more powerful agents, and who knows, even self-building agents, which is a possibility that I wouldn't think I would be saying in 2025 to begin the year. So vector spaces, yeah, this is more of what gets stored are the learned features from the agents. This is about the dimensionality, which has to be with the semantic meaning and the vectors. The position determines similarity, which I mentioned, and the viewpoints or the dimensionality. And this is specifically used for efficient information retrieval. This is how machines best extract data associated to language processing. You don't have to know a lot about this. It's important to know that this is what it is used, and that's how Eliza works, in case somebody asks you, okay, so where the data is stored in a vector database, but you can always answer, how does that work? I'm not sure. You can check the docs. The code is open source. So yeah, however, just the retrieval augmented generation is not an agent. It's just a knowledge layer. It's not autonomous. It can solve problems. It's just a way to store information, and still requires human guidance. You need to tell ideally the system that's using the RAG, which can be just a simple API layer that doesn't really do evaluation, or it can be an agent, but you have to tell it very clearly how does this storage has to do. And Eliza has a great plugin for token recommendations that's used in several agents that you probably have seen. And this is how they store their recommendations, and how the agent goes and retrieve those recommendations that you gave it to it. And it's going to check, okay, so Colin or Kale maybe is giving me like very, very good recommendations, and Colin's more of a degen, so he loses more money. So next time, Kale, I have his historic recommendations. Next time he suggests something to me, since I have a track record that I'm using RAG for, and I know that I've stored in my brain as an agent, then I'm going to follow Kale's recommendation. And Colin, maybe I need a little bit more track record, or he has been not doing great this past month. I don't know. This is a cool way to explore it. And that's the best part. Eliza gives us a lot of open, source plugins that allows us to explore how other people are doing it and what's working, what's not. Cool ways to use them. So that's the best part about open source. And then we start moving into multi-agent systems, swarms, where inter-agent communications start emerging. Agents influence themselves. There's a very cool project called Infinite Region.ai. It's part of the region kind of agents that's starting to explore, and we're also participating there with John Fracaster with the region channel. And how can we train agents to shield agents about doing certain, like, this is possible, right? Is this good? Is this bad? We don't know how far we can take it. It would be super cool to have agents work and generate value by themselves, collaborate on problem solving, start creating value, content generation, and things. You've seen Luna, you've seen Waifu. These are very specific towards entertainment, but then you're gonna see more specific towards workflow executions, towards medicine. I know there's a very cool agent that's over there doing rheumatology, and I know the doctors that's training him or it, the agent. And this is cool exploration. Like, it's starting to get attention from actual rheumatologists that are seeing the content that's pushing out. Is this good? Is this bad? What's the limit that we have to put to them? Yikes, that's a good question that we want to find out. And just some differences. AI agent versus AI automation. You've seen a lot of AI automation tools for a while. This is not new. Automation is just about fixed rules and workflows and execution. And AI agents, we like to take a more nuanced approach, independent decision making. Try to give it a little bit more autonomy and try to impact on the decision making by providing very concrete instructions on how to execute them. However, giving the leeway to create the decisions by themselves. And we've tested this. I want to show very quick on Discord. This is gonna be in Spanish. Sorry about that. But this is an agent that we are working on, and I ran through it a proposal, since I'm a member of the Nouns Amigos governance, and I'm an owner. I'm a holder. And I started like bouncing. Hey, I don't like this proposal, but maybe I'm missing something. Can you give me like a feedback? And start jamming with it, and start jamming on evaluation. And this was just more of a one of the proposer. She was here like saying, hey, this is subjective, but this is what we want to find. Hey, I know this is subjective, so I want your your feedback. Let's train these agents to have the outcomes that we want, and instructions. Trying to get a score, and I think at the end, let's see. Hey, burrito. So what was the final decision for the proposal? Please, in English. You are live on the set agent camp session. I don't know if it knows about the agent camp session, but I've told to a couple of my agents about it and just get some feedback. Which is fun. It's just about having fun mostly. So let's allow it to answer, and that's where we start moving toward the impacts of the AI agents. We start thinking, okay, and I didn't find the winner of eGlobal Bangkok, one of the finalists rather. They created a virtual office where you had like 6 or 7 agents, and each of them like specialized on each of their skills. And somebody like a client came in and gave a task, and each of them started like working parallelly or depending on the flow, and you get an output of like a task, maybe a business plan or a marketing campaign, but you just had to do one prompt. How far we can take this? Well, the best agents that actually execute the best work, have the best workflows, are going to have the most valuable agents. And that's where the tokenization part comes, which is very interesting. Should an agent have a token? Should it not? That's completely up to you. We want to see tokenization of value, or rather, tokenization of value, which is what we care about. If you think your agent has value by just being ownership of the agent, we would like you to explore that way and see if it works. We're not saying it does or it doesn't. We just like, let's find out. Maybe you just want to enable a payments layer for a transaction value, or rather value transaction and payments within an application, payment for the workflow execution, hosting fees, credits. There's a lot of ways to go. Even just records, attestations, on-chain repetition. Start thinking outside of the box. Don't go just the easy launchpad way, because that's gonna get flooded. Want you to take this more on okay, how can I actually provide value that's not just like copycat and just get, if you just want to try to rock, that's what we don't like about these kind of tools. It's just like creating just out of creation. We want to see how you use AI for good. That's part of also the region things that I like to talk about, but we want to find how agents can reduce the amount of work that we do, so we can come and talk about, okay, how can we use them more effectively? How can we use them more creatively to give us back time so we can enjoy the things that, or do the things that we actually enjoy and not the repetitive, monotone tasks. Some key considerations, and we're going towards the end. We will do a quick exploration of tools that we are using. But training data is important. I'm starting to suggest everyone start documenting everything that you do and you learn as Markdown content, at least, because you're going to be able to upload this to any RAG system, and you're going to have I always happen to me this, hey, what did we do on Bangkok on X day? Yeah, because I have to go and search, right? And if I document it, and if I didn't, I have to go and create it. Well, if I did it the first and put it into a RAG system, I can just prompt, hey, can you give me a summary of what happened for DABL CLUB on Q4 of 2024? I can do it 10 years after. It's going to be there. Of course. Effective prompt engineering. We're going to dive very deep into this during one of our sessions, probably on the second to last one, because it's all about prompt engineering. I used to kind of mock, I'm going to say it, like mock a little bit when they say engineering, right? Because, engineers, and how can you think? Yeah, it was super dumb way of thinking now looking back, because it's all about the prompt, and especially the first prompt or the first couple of prompts are about nailing and taking your time to do a very well crafted prompt, so the machine understands, the language model understands what you're trying to achieve. And it's all like code. Like if you don't, the machine's going to execute it the way you input it. If the code doesn't make sense, then you're not going to get the results that you want. So it's a little bit about that. Clear system instructions to your prompt. That's very important. The system prompt is probably the key one that always gets injected before the LLM executes. So these are where your instructions are, the role, objectives, and a lot of stuff. And continuous optimization, you're going to tweak a lot. So don't worry if the first agents you do don't look the way you want. You're probably not going to get it right the first time. You're probably not going to get it right the 100th time. It's all about tweaking and understanding. This is very new. This is weird at times. But still, it's all about finding out what works and what doesn't. And who knows, you can be building the next unicorn just of a very good executed prompt.
Mel, I want to take just one moment and insert myself here real quick. I'm putting something up in the comments as well. Just one of the participants here today in Agent Camp that has jumped into our DABL CLUB Telegram. This is the project that they're building here. It's a glitch albatross. It's a semi-autonomous agent right now, but he's chatting with me in our Telegram, and he said something about this prompt engineering that I wanted to share because I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer, and I've been seeing how I can participate in these things based on exactly what you're just saying, right? This is a language system. It's not a code system. The code is the language. So talking to him about this particular one he built, get this guy is born to train agents because he's been a parrot trainer his entire life. He has trained parrots throughout his whole entire life. So she is very, I think I see her in the chat right now. So she has been a parrot trainer her whole life and is very well aware of the challenge of using language to convey messaging to a different entity. And so, like you're just saying, the prompt engineering is the key to all of this. It's about changing how we express our will.
Totally. It's crazy, and when you think about it, just to close the whole idea of LLMs and where we are going. So it all starts with just the models are trained to predict very well what the next word is going to be. That's what it all boils down to. And out of this comes like what seems a stream of consciousness, which is a little bit what happens with humans. Like when you think about it, it's like, hey, who am I? I like a lot. I know some people don't like Avengers or like the Marvel universe, but when Ultron is born in the MCU, which I know it has nothing to do with the real Ultron, but anyways, it's like this confusion and starts jamming, blabbing, and throwing out words. And at the beginning, it's like cool, but then it goes rogue, whatever. And we've seen this happen to other models, but it's all at the end just words after words. And what these words mean and how we interpret them, that's what happens. And that's what we're going to explore in this agent camp. We're going to take these explorations of how to build and interact with these models with the instructions to help us create valuable things such as the Replit agent. And I want to move a little bit into what we are using and so things that you can start trying out to understand. Of course, ChatGPT and Claude are I think obvious candidates. So here's one that we have for our Frutero Club community. We have one for our DABL Club internal team, which is North. It's like the one that's helping us, a bookworm for specific creation and creating these knowledge documents that we really want to make better. A prompt master that's very specific just to create prompts. And whenever I need like a very specific prompt, I come to this. Then we go to Replit. Colin, when he shared it, Replit's been around for a while, for sure. But all of this that you can see here on this is a website, and it's just like a presentation like website, but it was all made out of prompts and chats, and it built this whole app out of nowhere, and you can just create a new Replit, just a template. And I think I saw this one's from Nader, for example. He already created the app directory because there wasn't one it was just one for pages. But there's a lot of cool already created. Coinbase has one. Like there's stuff to do here. So take a look, and you can just create stuff very quickly. It's gonna cost you some money. That's something that you need to take into account. So there are costs associated to this. Licenses, API keys. So do be aware that if you have troubles with this, we're trying to find a way to make these more accessible to everyone, but we are still working on that. But there's I need a landing page for our company, DABL Club. It's a builder community for Polygon, let's say. And it goes and builds a whole app just from a prompt. And the better you make this prompt, and the more start providing context to it. Cursor is another great example. And I'm going to show something very cool about Cursor with this region plugin that we're doing over here. And it's all about just asking cool stuff to for example, this NFT generation one. Let's create an action for this. Let's call it create drop.ts. You can come here for composer and hey, please create an action that means create a contract. You see sent in contract, and means the NFTs to a list of addresses. And then you can come in and start putting files into the context. And we have also our, what I mentioned, the system prompt, which is also important. I have here my rules for AI. So I say, you're an expert in Solidity, Node.js, Next.js 14 app, router, all of this. And I'm a developer. So, okay, you're thinking, yeah, you're a dev. So, but you know how much I am starting to leverage all of this? So I just start doing prompts and use, let's create drop.ts. Let's close it for anything else.
Yeah, if anyone has a really great example of a Replit project they built, feel free to drop a link in the comments. I want to show off one from one of our builders in our community. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it though, but I want to brag about a really cool project that I've seen someone build in the space. So I'll give him a little shout out by just showing off what he's built. And it's super early. So I don't know if he even wants me to show off what he's built, but if you go to Agent Flow, this is a pretty amazing thing. You can start building your own AI agents with this product. So he built this entirely using Replit. So it's kind of an amazing capability that you can go and build entire applications using the AI agent in Replit. If you are new to coding, I would say Replit is probably my recommendation as to where you should start. And if you are interested in a Replit course, I also can recommend that you go take his Replit course. So I'll put a link to his courses here as well. So
definitely, and this is a very powerful tool. I know there's going to be challenges, but this is a dawn, right? The more we use it, the more we understand what we can achieve, what we cannot, what works, what doesn't. It's it's very cool that they already created this. Add more sections, please. It's already very powerful, and you can actually go here and click deploy, and of course you have to rent a hosting space and all of this. But still, just going into this with a couple of clicks and a couple of prompts is one of my favorites. There's others that are very popular for Hugging Face, where you can explore more specific models or flows. It's a little crazy, the UI and all of this, but just so you understand how much people are building on AI, exploring, and you can come and look for things that people get inspired, get into how they are doing this kind of translation. For example, maybe you want your bot to be very good at translating English to Egyptian, so you can come here and check how they are doing it, and if it's open source, if it's possible to use it, how do you use it, if you need to pay for it. The idea is to start exploring more and more these kind of tools. Another ones are file.com, I think it's the name. Which ones have you tried also, Colin, other than Claude and the usual?
So I'd say Claude is probably every developer's favorite in terms of coding. I'll say Gemini from Google has some advantages in that it does more than just prompts, and you can use Google's AI Studio, which is a really wonderful platform. So I'd say Gemini also has a larger context, so you can Gemini I'd say has some advantages over Claude. OpenAI's reasoning model is still the best, so above everything else is O1 or now O3. So if you really want the most intelligent agent, you're probably going to be using OpenAI's API. But for coding specifically, I think Claude is still one of the top ones. I see someone mentioned DeepSeek v3. That's a very popular one as well. Loomlay is like a no-code agent builder, and they recommend DeepSeek as their go-to agent. I think that's used more for characters, not necessarily. It's more for agentic agents that are less focused on the reasoning side. So, yeah, I'll find the Replit course for you in a second, and I'll put a link up for you.
Yeah, and just to touch too, we're gonna put a little resource package together that'll be available in our Telegram after this, including this recording. There's tons of good resources that our participants are sharing in the chat as well. So we look at those chat logs, and we will parse all of this with the help of some of these tools and provide this in a useful way. So that way we can expand on this. The next session's planned for Thursday, so we'll have a couple days here to unpack all this and let it kind of soak into your brains.
Exactly. Definitely. So that's this this on the content side for the first session. Very introductory, very like getting our feet wet a little bit with the AI, just understanding the building blocks. I know it wasn't very deep into what we were going to be exploring, but it's very important to understand a little bit the context of how we got here and what are we looking for now with the tools and things that developers have been building for the past decade on AI. And it's a perfect moment. I know that there's a lot of noise out there on agents and the attention and the market. For this part, I want you to keep focused on the value that the agents actually can provide rather than the attention and the memes, and start exploring how can we make these agents valuable, because that's where if you come from the Web3 space or the on-chain ecosystem like ourselves, where we really like the potential to onboard more people into using our tools, our infra, our blockchains like Polygon, and start exploring more of this freedom that we can also enable to our agents and these workflows. And just start using these open, decentralized, permissionless systems that will allow us to really achieve coordination and, who knows, create the next wave that allow humans to really transcend the entropy. I don't know how close AI is going to take us to the other end of that, to that transcendence. But yeah, so super happy to jam on this. We will provide the resource package. Deliverable for this week is going to be your idea. So start thinking about it. Start sharing it on Telegram. We'd love to hear what you guys are and girls and agents are trying. If there's an agent that wants to participate, we'd love to be part of your team as well. If you're using AI, somehow share it in your ideas, share it on your teams, descriptions. We will provide all of these platforms because we want to understand how you are building with using AI and how we can help you build AI and on Polygon to create the tools that will help your communities. That's all from the content part. Super happy to jam on more ideas, on more things for a couple of minutes here. Colin and Kale, anything else from your end?
I have my little piece to share for sure, which is we're going to watch people start sharing ideas and forming little teams and little brain trusts. I'm very, very excited about using these agents and tools to help with building inside like Unity and Unreal. It's one of my favorite little places, and utilizing like the Android XR kit that just came out. I'm not somebody that would ever have the technical background to see the Android XR kit and recognize the value or so that it might be something I could use. And yesterday I was able to sideload my first XR app into my Quest 3 and go there. And I would not have been able to do that without these AI processes. And so very excited to see the people that do not have technical backgrounds. You do not have to be a developer to do this stuff. Mel and Colin are, and they got a lifetime of this stuff. And so there is that context that's always going to be present. It's hard for them to imagine what it's like for a complete rookie in today's timeline to be activated into building. And so I'm here to represent that sector. So if you think that a lot of this is a little bit overwhelming to you, or you have some dumb questions, there's no such thing here. So please, in the Telegram, feel free to share anything that you would like to know more about. And I'm happy to have those kind of long conversations at the conceptual basic level to help warm you up.
Super important what you mentioned, Kale, and we really appreciate. And yes, invite your friends that are interested also, and maybe they think they're not technical enough, that's something that we don't care, and actually we will fight you to it. Colin just mentioned the Replit course. I mean, nowadays, if you don't code, if you don't want to build something, it's just because you don't want to. Like, the code is not an actual limitant. It's helpful for sure, but now you can ask an agent that actually knows how to do this stuff, and at least get something out there, so a developer can come in and say, "Oh, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. You're at least somewhat interested in putting yourself out there and trying to get something built, even if you don't know, but you can show a value with a proof of concept, and that's all it takes, even for investment." So yeah, Colin, I love Colin's the one that's been playing around with the Replit and sharing with us, and it's actually been very helpful, because sometimes it's very hard to transmit, "Hey, I want this," and diagrams is not as fun as prompting, but with a prompt, then you get like a, "Hey, check the URL," and you can press the buttons inside like a non-functional prototype. It's so fast to get stuff done. It's like, whoa, okay, I understand. We're going to get more into.
Do we want to share some alpha about what we're building behind the scenes? We can save it for the next time. But we have 2 different tracks that we're going to be offering up courses over the next 3 weeks. We're going to be leading an intensive track for direct mentorship and coders to dive in, and we're also going to have an open track that is just self-paced learning, but we're going to make it easy for newbies to also build your own AI agent. And so we are building the tool set to enable you to build your own agent without having to code. And so by the end of the 3 weeks, you will have your own AI agent up and running. And we are building the infrastructure to make that easy to do. You will be essentially our beta testers for our startup product. Full disclosure, we're launching something, and you're going to get to be the first ones to test it out, and hopefully go win hackathons with it.
Yeah, that's going to be very fun. We want to put agents at your service. We want to help you play with them and see the interfaces, help us understand what would you like to get done with this powerful tool, and get you like your ideas and your thinking and your execution. And if you build them, hey, you need to get paid for that. That's what we want. Like, we want to enable all of this creativity and power that we know we have seen in the countless meetups and hackathons and just conversations that we have with builders. Let's get that powerful building out there and get value. But yeah, anything else, guys, or shall we start closing?
Yeah, I think we're hitting our good resting point there. We will get the next session on the calendar for Thursday is the next session. We will get that on the calendar by the end of the day today. We'll send that email invite out to all the individuals that registered for today's camp. We'll also have it out in our Telegram as well as on our Twitter page. So you'll definitely see the resources there. Just give us a moment to wrap this live session so I can have that recording and get it all put together. I need an agent. I need a couple. I need a team right now. This has been a great example for me today. And I see a lot, anyone out there in community management, social media management like myself, we definitely need more hands on deck, and so I'm excited to learn. So let's dive right in, guys. Okay, I think
I'm going to throw our X handles up one more time. Someone asked for our X handles, so if you want to tag us and post about us, all of our handles are right here. Boom, there you go. Oh wait, no, there you go. So feel free to follow us, tag us, and if you want to speak on the next show or teach something about what you're building, feel free to ping us on Twitter or in the Telegram chat group. We have an Agent Camp channel. So.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, friends, let's call it. There's tons of information. We'll stick around for a long time if we just keep in it. So let's go ahead and find our natural break point here. I appreciate everyone's time and effort to be here. We're at different clocks with these live sessions, but we will make the recording available to you. So if you weren't able to be here with us live, we're still thinking about you. So we'll get that resource package put together. Feel free to follow us on X. Telegram is where I live. So any other additional follow-up questions, you can find us there in Telegram, and we'll be able to make that clear. Mel, the particular tracks, we'll have to just make sure we create 2 different buckets to make it clear to people on how to raise their hand on which particular track that they would like to commit themselves towards. Otherwise, I appreciate everybody's time being here. Let's dabble deeper. We're looking forward to seeing what you can build.